Regulation.
Yes.
Regulation of
That
engineers.
one is regulation.
Regulation.
The other one is...
That is a council that is saddled with the responsibility of the practice of engineering in Nigeria. They determine who are qualified to practice engineering.
That means for someone who studied building,
yes,
it cannot fall under current.
No, you cannot come under current, but there are some things you can do.
Okay.
Current will still tell you these are our requirements.
Right.
You see, all current and any other regulatory body, they have their guidelines.
Okay.
Anybody that can meet their guidelines. We have people who are both engineers and architects. We have people who are both engineers and quantity surveyors. We have people who are both engineers and builders like myself, and but it's all about meeting the requirements. So current is the regulatory body. They are the ones established by the law of the Federal Republic that to register who will be an engineer. They keep the register of engineers in Nigeria, and if anybody is not registered with current, the person cannot call himself an engineer. So anybody that even goes out to say he's an engineer while he's not, is liable to like 8 years imprisonment if current catches up with such a person, because that's impersonation, and you're calling yourself what you are not. And then current also has greater power now. Before, current could not prosecute anybody that belongs to any other profession, but the person is defiling engineering profession in the way the person has practiced. But now, current has power. Even if an architect, even if it's builder, even if it's surveyor, a quant surveyor, bastardizes engineering in any way, and such a person is called. Current can prosecute you even without taking you to your own regulatory body. Before, it will be that current will submit you to your regulatory body for discipline. But now current has that power. So, but NSC is an association. It is called Nigerian Society of Engineers. It's an association. It's just a body of knowledge of the engineers, all that are engineers. Well, it's an association. Some people are not members of NSC, but they are registered with current. But current is so vital. You must be registered with current to practice engineering in Nigeria. So that's just the difference. But the advantage also with NSC is that because NSC is the association, NSC has grassroots influence. We meet more at NSC levels, discuss, interact. There are more programs. NSC and the divisions of NSC are the ones that do all of these other programs. Like we're talking about the Nigerian Institution of Structural Engineers, Nigerian Institution of Water Engineers, Nigerian Institution of Highway and Transportation Engineers, the Nigerian Institution of Environmental Engineers. They are divisions of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. And so for those of us who are also specialists in those areas, we interact also. We rub knowledge. We exchange knowledge rather. We rub off on one another, and it provides a very good platform for us to learn one from another. Papers are presented. We give talks and lectures, but more current also does, but not as much as NSC does.
All right. Now, in recent past, maybe a few months back, we heard of building collapse here and there, and it really set one mind wondering, what could be happening? Are we saying we don't have civil engineers, we don't have structural engineers in the country? Who should ensure that these buildings, when being constructed, they are up to standard and there won't be any issue? So now that these had happened, what are the causes? We want to know, and what NSC doing about it?
Well, thank you very much. This is a recurring decimal, and it's an issue that the NSC, both the NSC and current, are tackling headlong. There are rules and laws in Nigeria that specify who should do what as far as the construction industry is concerned. Well, I always put the blame on three classes of people, three groups of people. The government.
Okay.
The laws are set up by the government. The implementation should also be midwifed and guarded by the government. As long as government is guarding the implementation, I don't think anybody will have the boldness to want to violate the law, knowing fully well that there will be nobody will be above the law. Yeah. What do I mean? There are laws that says what an architect should do, and what the engineer should do, and what the other professionals in the built environment should do. There are 7 of them, and there are the laws that specify what the public should do. The public cannot just take laws into his or her hands by saying this is the way I want to do my own. No, you cannot. Anyway, because that's why some people went to study. That's why they went through. It's not, thank God you have somebody studying engineering. It's not easy studying engineering. Engineering is one of the most difficult courses to study in any university anywhere in the world, because of what is required. A lot of things required, so much things required. And even when you finish a first degree, you are still nobody as far as engineering practice is concerned. You still must practice for minimum of 4 years. Even before you can, you are really grounded, and you're already finding your footing in engineering. So the government has its own responsibility. No person should be above the law. There should be no sacred cow. The implementation is implementation. Whoever runs foul of the law should face the music. Then, those of us who are professionals, we also have our own responsibility. That will not absolve us. What do I mean? Particularly with respect to overlap in our functions. There are some things that are similar, very similar in the way we function, but at the same time, everybody has his boundary. I am an engineer. If I present myself to you as an architect, I have violated the law. I may know so much about architecture. I may have been dealing with a lot of architects, as we still do, but that does not make me an architect. So if you need the services of an architect, I should normally recommend you to one. If you need one from me, I should lead you to one. I should not present myself as one. The same thing for other professionals. What you are not licensed to do, you shouldn't do. So these are some of the challenges that we have also seen when some people call themselves what they are not. And to that degree, they are as much a quack as somebody who doesn't have any knowledge at all. Everybody is
an engineer.
So exactly.
Even if you are just, what do we call it?
Even if you are just an artisan. Exactly. Even somebody who is repairing something by just calls himself
an engineer.
And that's why I said the other time that if you are not on the register of Koren, if Koren catches such a person calling him or herself an engineer, Koren has power to prosecute the person, and the person can go for as much as 8 years imprisonment. So if we also that's a challenge also that we have. But we are resolving that because we are coming to terms to see that there's no point, because it is the way we present ourselves that the public will perceive us. So if we work together united, there's more than enough. There is no profession in the built environment. For instance, the built environment has the professions of architecture, engineering, building, surveying, town planning, and estate management. There are 7 of us. There is none of us that has enough that meets the demand that Nigeria requires. For instance, as engineers, we have the largest number of the 7. And engineers are still about 90,000. At least they are still at least a little above 90,000, going to 100,000. But for now, as it is now, Nigeria requires about 4 million engineers.
Wow.
So we don't even have enough.
Wow.
So, and I know that so it is for architecture, for architects, for builders, for surveyors, for quantity surveyors. We don't have enough. So if we don't have enough, why do we now have to now be fighting fighting at cross purpose or working across purpose one with another? So that also is another aspect that we are also looking at. Is another challenge.
Okay, now engineer, as a builder and structural and civil engineer, what's the assessment of the infrastructural facilities springing up in Ibadan? Talking about buildings, roads, bridges, and so on.
Well, thank you very much. We see a lot of things springing up. While we like development, but development must be controlled by plans. The development must be controlled by planning. Otherwise, if anything goes out of the plans, no matter how good the development is, it becomes a liability on the environment. What do I mean? I know that some time ago, some years back, I recall during the time of late Governor Jimobi, there was this Ibadan master plan that evolved. A fantastic document. I've seen it, and it was supposed to be implemented over 20-25 years, thereabout. If that program, that plan is followed, and those developments springing up are in line with those, with that master plan, we are good. Otherwise, we are already creating aberration, no matter how good they are. And then, some of those developments dotting the land, well, you see, I don't know how they get, some of them get approved. You see, an event center. If an event center has a capacity,
yes,
and there's a standard of vehicular parking space that it should also have. If it does not have that, why should it be approved? And so we see that the common practice is that once you see vehicles parked on the road, you just get to a place and you see vehicles, a lot of vehicles parked on the road. You check, watch out. There must be an event center around that place.
Sure.
And they are parking on the road, and then some of them can even be hindering traffic flow, free traffic flow. That for me is not a development. That for me has become a pain in our flesh. A strong thorn in that, for that matter. And then some of the buildings that we also seen growing up in some, I wouldn't want to mention in areas, but growing up in some areas, are we really sure we are in order? Bodija, for instance, has become more commercial than residential. I am not aware of any plan that converted Bodija from residential to commercial. And that, for me, is I said there's a new plan anyway, is an abnormality from the old order. Even though there may be drive to rake in fund for the government, but should it be at the expense of good living environment for the people? Because I see something that is common in Bodija. You see lounges, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. Even if they are doing the same business, how do you approve them side by side, 3, 4 at the same line side by side? Is it that we just want money? You're not even helping their businesses. So if their customers all come, there will be traffic congestion. in that place? Are we looking at that also? So some of these things, as good as nice buildings may come up, but what function are they, what role are they playing? Once they are playing roles that will impact adversely on the lives and good livelihood of the people, then they are not development. So I want to appeal to government to please look at some of these things. Why some are in order, a lot is not in order. In fact, some filling stations could also come. A number of filling stations are also coming up in some odd places. I know these are also some of. I know we want development, but not at the expense of safety of lives and properties. I know government is trying, but at the same time, I want them to do more for us. Like, as an engineer, I will tell you that the roads in Ibadan that have been paved is a job in a good direction. Yes, it has uplifted the status of Ibadan. And why that is appreciated, we hope that the maintenance of the drains around to elongate, to give the road the pavement good durability. We hope that those are also taken into consideration, so that is done from time to time to be able to sustain.
Okay. Now, talking about maintenance, I know you were a consultant to your state government mold-assisted project, Badamban Flood Management Project, as a consultant, hydraulic consultant. Now the project has ended. We're talking about maintenance now. If you look around and see where all those projects were situated, what would you want to tell us about the project?
I will tell you candidly that I'm very sad, because I go around. I've seen Odono today. The sand debris within the channel, the vegetation within the channel, they are not supposed to be there. They're supposed to be taken care of, maintained, so that the channel flow are not hindered from time to time. Even the Agodi channel also here. I don't think there's been any serious maintenance effort since those projects were completed. And government needs to up their game, so that because lack of maintenance can shorten the lifespan of those facilities. And government spent a lot of money. And it was a good effort, a very commendable effort in the right direction, having that channel, those channels, because Ibadan is always prone to flooding every rainy season. For the past years now, we've not had that. Fine, fantastic, excellent. We give kudos to government in that regard. But please, those channels need to be maintained from time to time, so that the flow of water is not impeded in any way, so that we don't experience flood inundation again.
And when you were talking initially, you talked about how good our engineers are. We can place them side by side with those from other countries.
Yes, I'm able to say that.
Yes. But then in Nigeria, it's a known thing that government prefer expatriates as consultants, as contractors, to work on some of our projects in this country. Why? Are we saying that Nigerian contractors are not competent enough to do all these infrastructural projects?
Well, thank you very much. There are a number of factors. It isn't that Nigerian contractors are not competent. Well, we also still have our challenges. Most of those multinationals that you see, all of them have the backing of their home countries. All of them. I know we have worked together. I've worked together with many. They have the backings of their home countries. This is one of the things that we are not getting. The Nigerian indigenous contractors or engineers are not getting. Projects should be designs, like consulting works projects can be given to Nigerian engineers, and then they are supported. The construction aspect also, projects are, there are a lot of conditions that are given in these days. In fact, I wish to use this forum to say that government needs to go and to look at the conditions they give to contractors when you give them a job. You give a contractor a job, you give him a 30% mobilization, he must provide you with an APG, advance payment guarantee. And that is at the cost to the bank. The bank will also require collateral. There will be something to collateralize the fund. These days, I've been a victim of one. The banks also even request that they will nominate an insurance company to you that will still reinsure the APG. So the bank is transferring the risk to that insurance company, and you still have to pay that insurance company. You still have to put down collateral. That is, to me, that is unfair and very unhealthy. And then the contractor still has to provide 10% performance guarantee. And what the bank does is they take the chunk of that money, constituting the 10% for the performance guarantee from even the 30% that was paid. Going forward, with all this expenditure, it will become very difficult for the contractor to get himself out of the APG bond with what is left. So I want government to help us look at, these are some of the things these multinational companies don't, of course, if they are subjected to the same thing here in Nigeria, but they get support from their home country. Even before the money is paid, the equipment have arrived. They brought in all the equipment that they needed, and this funding and everything, their cash flow is never tampered with. So it's one of the things that is helping them to manage. Of course, they have good management system too. Is another thing that we also need to improve as indigenous contractors and engineers in Nigeria, our management system for those funding. And by and large, we should also be able to get there.
Okay. Now, before we round up on the program, I want to ask, are you satisfied with the way engineering students in our institution of learning are being trained in this country, knowing the fact that do we have enough facilities to train them? If there are not enough facilities to train the students, how will they come out, from the schools not being half-baked to really be engineers that we need in this country?
Well, thank you very much. While I understand that there are challenges, I still want to say that a lot is in the hands of the government, the respective institutions, and then the students. The government, as far as the funding is concerned, we know engineering is dynamic, like I said earlier. New facilities, they need to be exposed to some of these facilities to corroborate practical with theory. Then the support to the teachers. It's not easy to be a teacher of engineering. I tell you, it is not easy to be a teacher of engineering because it takes a lot of you. These are the days of internet. You must be well versed, and an average engineering student is actually very smart. So you must be well prepared. Otherwise, what you are saying, your student can tell you that, sir, this thing, I read this thing in the paper of Olu and Ade, 1982.
Okay.
You see, so you must also be on top of your game,
Okay.
and the facilities must be there for them too, and then they must be well remunerated. Engineering teachers abroad are well remunerated. In fact, they love to do their work. In fact, if you see them, ask them. I once asked some of my teachers there, where they tell you that this is my job. I love doing my job. I don't think that is the case with our people here. So that help. That also has to be there. Then, the institutions also. Sometimes when you have a leadership of an institution who is not seeing things the way you want to see, because that's another challenge. But I want to believe that government can do something to do that, to help in that regard. I know they just set up a committee recently to manage a particular funding to some universities, 13 of them, by federal government, to at least to improve and develop their faculties of engineering. That is a step in right direction. It's a welcome development.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Engineer Dr. Adekunle Christopher Olaoye. He has been a guest on the program for today, and we have enjoyed every bit of it. An engineer, very vast in the profession, and as you have seen, every little thing we need to know about engineering from his own perspective, he has really dished out. I want to thank him very much for being part of the show for today. Thank you so very much, sir. It's
a pleasure. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the privilege.
For honoring our invitation.
I appreciate it.
And I'm sure you'll come next time we invite you again.
With all pleasure. Thank you.